So welcome everybody here in the room to our live seminar and everybody joining online to the live webinar of FCG and Microsoft talking about IT security and how we can help you help yourself.
So I'm Fiona Golinelli and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm one of the Microsoft ambassadors, employed though under Crayon, which Kate and I are employees of, and we specialise in Microsoft. Kate, my colleague here, does a lot of other products that would support you in your business. But myself, I'm very much focused on Copilot and cybersecurity in the small medium office, the SMB market. And it's an interesting space, forever changing as we were mentioning. And today is very much, it's going to be low key, not highly technical. It's really an educational session that Microsoft like us presenting. Because look, Australia's in a very difficult, if difficult's the right word, situation right now. We're being hammered by cyber criminals. It's a big, big business. It's the third largest economy. Cybercrime is the third largest economy in the world. America, China, whichever order that comes in, and then cybercrime. And the dollars that are transacted through this economy is phenomenal. I've got some stats to show you. And what we're trying to do here at Microsoft is educate our SMB community. IT is probably always considered a cost, but it's actually now got really quickly changed for an investment because it's just every business is a target. I hear all, because I'm talking to customers as well as our IT partners like FCG all the time, and I'm hearing, I just don't want to spend the money, and I'm too small. I'm too small. Why would I be a target? But you're the lowest hanging, easiest target for a cyber criminal to attack. I don't want to use the word attack. So this is just a really interesting presentation. What we're just really trying to do is inform you. So I might, if someone can just do page down. Thank you. So how did it get this bad? And a lot of it has got to do with cryptocurrency has made it really, really easy for cyber criminals. It's actually, crypto has increased from 14 billion, these are the latest figures I can get, in 2021 to 20.6 billion in 2022, purely from cybercrime. They're big numbers, but that's what has made it an easy market for this industry. And it's easy payments, it's instantaneous, it's anonymous. It just makes it really easy for cyber criminals. And the other big change has been work from home. COVID's brought along changes. You've got staff, I'm sure, who have been asking you for hybrid work environment, but with that also brings hardware changes. So for us, mobile phones, I could not live without that. But this is my own personal mobile phone. It's not an organisation distributed one. So I want to access my company data. Well, what happens if I have a distorted view of the company I'm working for and want to steal data? What happens if my mobile phone's lost? We need to have security around these third-party devices, not only phones, iPads and so on. So the actual change to our work environment has brought our organisations to say, okay, guys, we've really got to tighten up and look at how the framework of your organisation is structured from a security perspective. We might just move on. That's okay. I don't want to death by PowerPoint you. So now this is, the next slide is very much myths and truths because I'm speaking, actually it's the stats. Interestingly, this is the latest report, and it's was issued last year. So cybercrime is committed or reported, I should say, every 6 minutes. That's been nearly a 20% increase on the previous year. Now, the average self-reported cost, and we've defined each of the business sizes there. May not look that high. 46,000 to a small business. Yeah, okay. But that's only for the reported crimes, the businesses that have reported it. It doesn't take into account those businesses that haven't recovered from a cyber crime. A lot of businesses just don't recover from it. It doesn't also take into account the reputational damage to the business, because if you have personal data that you're storing, the not-for-profit organisation is having lots of interesting information, not that I want to focus on not-for-profits. There's lots of interesting information that your organisation may be storing. If that is leaked, it's the reputational damage. The IP that you've got in your organisation, that can all be leaked. And that's all these considerations. Angela, if you don't mind. And so here's just some more interesting facts. I won't go to them in more detail, but 1 in 5 SMBs do not know the term phishing. I don't think we've been great in Australia in educating ourselves, in being curious about it. One of the biggest problems we have as business owners, as leaders in IT, we probably get it, but do our staff out on the road, do our staff, your office manager, your receptionist, your accounts person, have they been educated in what's called a zero trust model? Don't trust anything that comes into your email. Question it constantly. And that's a Microsoft term that we provide by the zero trust model.
So there was a question that just came up before online, which is great. It's good feedback.
Yeah, please. Feel free to ask questions.
So we'll try to address it as we go along and do a Q&A at the end. But looking for the source of this data that
Yes.
Microsoft are presenting. So it's just noted down there. It's part of the ASIC ACSC annual cyber threat report.
Correct. My apology. Thank you for calling that out. So yes, the cybercrime and SMB, these facts have come from the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, which is part of the Australian Signals Directorate, which is part of the Australian government. And that annual report you can easily find online. So what we've done here at Crayon is just put together some interesting facts in these presentations to call them out. And I was just picking out sort of the main features of interest.
This one
yeah.
keeps a fair bit of interest, though, because 80% of the SMBs rate cybersecurity as being very important.
I mean, a good point, yes.
Yeah, only half of them only spend $500 a year on cybersecurity. So there's something sort of a bit missing versus what we would like to do and what we actually do as a country right now, which is why we're so targeted.
Very, very important. And I'm hearing, because I cover all of Australia and New Zealand, what I'm hearing is, we just want to put our heads in the sand. I said, Mr. Customer, please, you can't actually ignore it. It's gone past that point. Maybe a few years ago, we weren't taking it so seriously, but the rate has increased so phenomenally that it's just gone past that, I believe.
It's not about if, it's about when.
Yeah, it's a good point, Kate.
So Australia is so targeted because we're a relatively wealthy nation. We also have a very high percentage of SMB. And SMB, cybercrime criminals target practice before they start hitting the big boys. So it's very real and it happens all the time.
So my expression about low-hanging fruit, it may take years or a year for them to penetrate a larger organisation, whereas it could take weeks or a month to penetrate a compromise a small, medium business. So if you're after ransomware and you put out, they've got a business model. So, and ransomware is how they will earn their money. So if a small business doesn't want to lose their data, compromise, their documents, notify their customers, then, a lot of them do pay up. And that's why I've led into this myths and truths, because I think it's just easier. I think it's worth calling it out. So if I pay a ransom, I still won't get my data back, is what I'm hearing from a lot of customers. Well, that's actually not true. The actual cyber criminals do want you to pay up so that you can tell your fellow business colleagues, look, I paid up what they asked, I got my data back, and it was sort of like a positive outcome in some respects. But that gets the word out there so that cyber criminals do actually earn their money.
But it is a business model. You know, it's the third largest economy. It's if they don't actually give people what they want, then they're not going to keep building their business. It's a shocker, but it's true. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, so some interesting stats. So so some of the stats we can only get are a little bit older, but in 2021, 200 companies that were surveyed, 66 suffered a cyber attack, 44. So the percentage, paid a ransom. But that's still, the ransoms might have been significant, which I'll give you a little story in a moment. So to that cyber criminal, and interestingly, these cyber criminals are purchasing all of their, not always, purchasing a lot of their software that they're using, these really advanced pieces of software to actually penetrate the organisation. They're using it as like software as a service. It's just a subscription model for them. So once they actually have the latest tools, it makes it easy for them to put their business model together and go for it. Another myth is cyber insurance. Do any of you have in your business insurance policy, do you have cyber insurance? Just curious. So it's all very well, but don't feel like you are 100% covered, because it does very much depend on that fine print, which we're all told to read.
And insurance companies are the best at it.
Yes, aren't they? So, interestingly, failure to maintain or follow an ongoing program or minimum standards doesn't mean to say that they will cover you. Second, the event of an attack, the compromise occurred before the cyber insurance was purchased. Well, that's a little bit, Ransomware by organisations is deemed a nation state actor. Maybe acts of war. So you won't be covered as it's considered an act of war. And the final one, which is the most interesting, is if obviously, if it was, and I'm not wishing that upon anyone, and that was then reported to your IT company, the IT company would be doing something immediately, pretty much so, right, to help you get back on track. But doing your own initial forensic discovery makes it impossible for you to actually, in this case, impossible for you to actually make an insurance claim because you've already started meddling with the situation. So it's important to read the T's and C's is what we're saying. Which one's this one? Now I've covered this briefly, so I'll skip through this. It's only the big end of town that we hear about a lot of the time, but please, small, medium business owners, I can't say it often enough, you are the lowest hanging fruit. So some examples, Mercy College, Lilydale Mercy College in Victoria was hacked. A real estate agent in Melbourne, a skincare company. You wouldn't really think, they'd be low hanging fruit, but they are. The DoorDash food delivery service, Mofo and LJ Hooker in Sydney. They're just some examples to sort of give you an idea of size and category of it's not who, it's when. And the last little myth is backups. So great, you need to have backups, and it's part of the essential aid, which I'll cover in a moment, which we just will go cover in brief. But test it. Will that be adequate for the business to get up and running with the systems and data and documents that you need? Will that be adequate for you if you were to access your backup, quickly after a compromise?
Backups are great for securing your data, but they don't help you at all against fraud, which is a very common practice. Like just last week, we had one of our customers, which is a small college in North Sydney, a 25-seat organisation, had a phishing attack on the director, who emailed internally to one of their accounts people to pay a particular invoice, $70,000. I'll tell you how we stopped it in a little bit, a few minutes' time. But these are incredibly common. We see them week on, week out, just at SMB businesses. So it's not. There are different types of attacks, and it's pretty scary what's happening.
I'll move So let me just give you a bit, and we'll go to that next bit. Yeah, so this is just a really interesting story. It's an earth-moving business. Last year, look, and I've put the link actually up because it is actually a really interesting story if anyone wanted to read it. The poor owner of the business has 25 staff, and he was up at night when he was compromised. He was up at night stressing. He didn't know whether he could actually continue the business. The cyber criminal withdrew $1.25 million from the account, from conning, I'm going to use that word, the actual accounts person, the actual, I don't know if he was finance manager, I don't know his title, but the accounts manager. They were able, NAB was able to recover 85K of that, but the rest has gone out the door. That's what he's lost. Now, it's an interesting tactic. That earth-moving business has got a contact at NAB called Mike in Coffs Harbour. So this Mike guy wasn't suspicious if he was to phone the company. Mike, the hacker, because he penetrated the data of this organisation, was able to find out lots of information, including, you know, who they pay, when they pay wages, what they pay, usual sums of money. Mike, the hacker, basically, once, I'll go through on the right-hand side, but once he found out that information, phoned the accounts manager and said, look, I'm Mike from your NAB Coffs Harbour branch, and we're seeing suspicious activity. What I need you to do, this is what the bank would recommend, is reset your password on your bank account. I'll give you then I'll send you via email a new password. And the accounts manager said, oh, okay, I trust Mike because I know of this Mike. So as soon as the accounts manager went through that process of resetting the password, that's when the transaction immediately happened. So how did he get into the accounts manager email and hack his password? They're smart algorithms. So he went through with brute force attack, we say, found out his email address. That's pretty easy. But how did he get into his password? I don't know whether they had multi-factor authentication on, not sure. It didn't actually say that. But the algorithm went through a process, and because he only had an 8-digit password, it takes, I have to remember, don't quote me on timeframes, 2.5 weeks, I think, to hack an 8-character password. If you have a 12-character password, it takes years. That's the difference. And obviously using BAs and apostrophes and all the other stuff. But an 8-character password is really quite easy to hack, scaringly. So he hacked, found the password, got into the data, made a phone call to the accounts manager, please reset your password because of this reason, and voila. That was the process that happens. And we'd never think that they would actually make a phone call, but this is how this particular situation occurred. So once there is no cure, there's only prevention. I just please get professional help. It's we can't be experts at everything as a business owner. I owned a business for years in digital marketing years and years ago. You can't wear so many hats. It's just impossible. And look, your organisation sizes here from the people in front of me are large organisations. So I would understand you have a great infrastructure, but technology is changing so quickly. So FTG are here to help you with across the board, not only with Microsoft products, but obviously other products. What we're offering is a security assessment. Now, this is a Microsoft certified security assessment. It's gone through a squillion amount of testing globally to actually, like that word, a squillion amount of testing to go through and offer it to the market. It takes approximately, give or take, 2 hours. So it's not going to be cumbersome from your end. FTG do all the work for you. And a report is provided with recommendations. We're suggesting that you may take that up forward. You may not do anything with it, but it'll be actually really useful information to have. It's all based around the Australian government recommendation of using a framework called Essential Aid. And I don't know how many of our attendees know about Essential Aid. I've got the website up here, but if you Google Essential Aid, you will see the 8 different, they're called controls or criteria, and I'll show you a screen in a minute on what they are. One of them, for example, is multi-factor authentication. I have feedback from some customers saying, my staff don't like using multi-factor authentication because it's cumbersome. That's all very well and good, but I don't think anyone has a choice anymore. It is as default on the security platform that Microsoft suggests for small, medium businesses. What is also on as a default to help with a few of the user aspects, I won't go into the technical thing, is what's called conditional access. Now that's being moved as being on as default as we speak. So in simple terms, I know IT managers, you're going to maybe ask me all the complicated bits, but conditional access in simple terms is putting around your IP address, putting a location control. So if I try to log in from Saudi Arabia, I'm clicking on Saudi Arabia, it would bring up a warning and say, no, Fiona's never lived or worked in Saudi Arabia. And that's only one aspect of conditional access. There's obviously a lot of other parameters that can be put around. But please educate, have a read of Essential Aid. Like I said, it's Australian government standard. The security assessments that we provide through FTG are all aligned to that. So it makes it actually quite easy reading. And look, there may be lots of recommendations or not lots of recommendations that come out of it, but our suggestion is just look at the priorities for your business because every business is so different. Our not-for-profit's going to be different to our private organisations. Just work on a timeline. This is high priority, this is medium, and this is long. And just do it in stage approach based on how the business wants to structure or become as tight in their security because no one can be 100% secure. Microsoft say it's 99.9. As any big business, they will always still have that little bit of wiggle room. But putting all the right parameters in place around Essential Aid will get you to that point. Now, if you're in financial services, legal, accounting, government, you do government work, your security posture may need to be tighter, we use the word tighter, than other businesses that don't have, patient data and client data and financial information as an example. Is there any questions so far?
It's just scary what you're talking about.
Sorry, I don't mean to scare, but it's reality. I have to we have to just put it as it is.
I think the Essential Aid was released a few years ago. It's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're all fairly familiar with it. It's commonly known as the Essential 9 these days.
Oh, yeah, good point.
As one of the biggest access points that threat actors have is via email. So education to staff of what emails, what a dodgy email looks like and how best to what not to click on is an essential part of the framework to maximise your security. And patch management we've all heard about for a long time. Essentially, all Windows applications, Windows operating systems are constantly getting updated with patches because threat actors find punch a hole through it, and Windows release a patch for it. I mean, it's pretty simple stuff. If that's like sort of your layer one for understanding how you're keeping your security up to date. We'll carry on through. I think we're probably on to FTG's section of the presentation. So I'm sure we haven't got sick of Fiona's voice because she's excellent and talks very well. You're going to hear a little bit of my voice. Who are we? We're a managed service provider just up the road in North Sydney. Awfully convenient to come down here and use the Rights boardroom. So it's lovely. Thank you. We cover all facets of office technology. So we're not just IT, but IT is the framework of what we do. We also do every part of the rest of your technology environment, whether that be print, telephony, cloud security, etc. What we've really concentrated on, based around a lot of what Microsoft have done in the last couple of years, is that cybersecurity side of things. And we've got a couple of really good experts within our organisation that are constantly upskilling, because you have to. We've got a very strong partnership with Brian. Hence we're here today, and you're here. So I thank you for taking your time to be here in person. I thank those that have joined us online.
Right, merged with quite an organisation, and we work a lot with big companies, big customers, and we having these resources to share with our partners like FCG, and we're making our partners stronger and adding value to you as a partner for you to add value to the customers.
Good, excellent. So where we sort of come into the fray is taking what Microsoft have done. We all understand Microsoft licenses vary. You get Business Standard, Business Basic, Business Premium, and you get E3 and E5. E3 and E5 is where you had to normally go to get to decent security levels through the Microsoft suite. And whether or not you're all aware that Business Premium now encapsulates most of the key security features of an E3 and an E5 license. I know you do, because you've maximised your Business Premium licenses up to a certain point. But it's basically what we sort of decided we would tailor our entire security suite around. So we started with what Microsoft Business Premium does, and all of our customers, we highly recommend Business Premium. Otherwise, we can't secure you in the right manner. So it starts with managed antivirus. Now, antivirus has been around as long as computers. There's nothing new there. But it's evolved, and it's got entry-level AI, it's got entry-level endpoint management now, because the way that you have to secure devices is different. But it does the particular product that we use is actually Microsoft Defender. We've tried a few different products over the course of our several years in managed IT, and we find what Microsoft Defender linked with other solutions that we put forward actually work and then become a very, very strong solution. So it comes with Business Premium, and that's why we sell it dramatically. So it's entry-level endpoint management, which is incredibly important, and it API integrates with our other tools, which is how we've built our systems out. So backups is part of the essential 8. You need to have at least daily backups. Of course, backups once again have been around a long time. We do four times a day incremental backups. And we also do it in a way that we start to learn what your patterns are. One of the massive security breaches that's been around for a very long time is CryptoLocker. I think it came out really even before COVID. It has been around a long time. So we monitor for that by keeping an eye on the backups. A basic form of a CryptoLocker attack is it'll come in, infect every single file across your setup, and it'll make it look exactly the same. So if you're not monitoring for it, you don't notice it. But with incremental backups, we might be moving a couple of gigs worth of data 4 times a day, which is pretty normal, just moving stuff around. If all of a sudden a couple of terabytes go up, we instantly know that somebody's got it. So we can wind you back before that time. We're on the front foot talking to you. So say what you're working on right now locally. We're going to restore all your data from an hour ago. You lose an hour, not the biggest thing in the world. And that's been going on for a while. And if you're not at least getting to that stage, then you've got something to worry about. But it's smart. We can wind back up to 20 years worth of data backwards, and it's absolutely an essential part of your security configurations. Fiona mentioned before, your mobile device. It's so commonly used now that you're working off a mobile phone. It's got your Microsoft Word. It can have it's definitely got your email. Probably got Teams. Likely got access to SharePoint. And even if a disgruntled employee leaves, yes, you can block their Microsoft account. You're still going to have access to recently viewed data on that mobile phone for a period of time, and you've really got no control over it. With the Business Premium tools, we can actually wipe any personal business information off a personal device in seconds without affecting any of the personal information on that phone. Not everyone gives every single employee a company phone. So being able to manage personal devices in an automated way is incredibly important. It also works for laptops. If you leave your laptop on a train, nobody's ever done that. And when you get home and realise it's not there, as soon as that's connected to the internet, it gets instantly wiped. It's all part of mobile device management. And so this is part of the security features that Microsoft have released that we got on board with. Now, where it gets a lot more advanced, and this is where we step outside the realm of just Microsoft, is fully managed endpoints. It's called managed detection and response, and it's kind of the next level of IT security. It's antivirus on steroids. But what we've done with the product that we use there and the Microsoft product is they integrate. So the more security features you have talking to each other, the better secured you are. And this particular system sends us email alerts every day of issues or concerns for what our customers are doing. What I said before about CryptoLocker coming in and changing every file and doing it all at the same time, and we can see that straight away. Well, do you think the threat actors have got smarter? Yes, they have. So they come in and they creep around and they spend 6 months changing every single folder throughout your infrastructure. So if you're not monitoring for that, it's impossible to see because it's not coming up in our incremental changes. It seems pretty normal. So what we do, we stick canaries right throughout your folder infrastructure. And so as these threat actors are creeping around, changing all your files, hits one of our canaries and we go, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And then we can go through the logs, wind back. It's a bit more of an effort and you might lose a little bit more data, but we can find out when they got in, how they got in, and kick them back out again. But it's a smarter way of monitoring. It's all run by AI. We also use that same AI engine to monitor your email habits. Now, like Fiona said, you send an email from Sydney, not a problem at all. If all of a sudden you're sending an email from Bahrain 10 minutes later, that's not right. So this system will instantly block that Microsoft account if it's a clear and obvious breach. And it's also, this could happen in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden, Ian's sending an email from Russia. Hang on a minute, that's not right. Bang, cut them off. It's backed by a 24/7 security operations center. It's commonly known as a SOC. And so that'll be kicked off in the middle of the night if need be, if it's a clear and obvious breach. If it's an unusual behavior standard and it happens sometime overnight, we've got an alert first thing in the morning. So our customer that had phishing attack, little college in North Sydney, and they sent an email internally to the accounts person to say, hey, please pay this bill for $72,000. That was instantly flagged to us by the system because AI is monitoring it, and AI, as we know, works at incredible speed. And we're on the phone to them going, don't pay that bill. We've just seen that somebody's come in and fished your email account, pretended to be you, et cetera. We could wind back, get them out. No harm, no foul. But if you're not on top of it that quickly, you miss things and people lose thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So every little tool is all designed in a way to map it out together and keep you as secure as possible. Like Fiona said, it's not a matter of, there's no cure, there's just prevention and doing everything possible to keep them out. And if they do get in, to be able to get you back to normal and business as usual as fast as possible. They've got smarter, so our tools have got to be smarter. So once we found this product, we implemented this late last year. It's absolutely revolutionised the way we handle cybersecurity for our clients. And we didn't charge any of our customers any more money for implementing it. It just comes part of the package of what we offer.
This is where we work together with FTG. We're always monitoring the market for new vendors. We analyze and understand how it's all connected to either Microsoft or other vendors, and offer is for FTG to assess it and make sure that the new technology is implemented to the current security channel.
So all important stuff. So we tie it all together with our remote management tool. Like any MSP has to have a remote management tool. It does everything from our AI monitored help desk. So all the tickets come in, tickets a day coming in from all of our customers. And Mary says, I can't access Microsoft Word. And makes it a priority 1 ticket. Of course, the AI will look at that and go, that's actually a priority 3, Mary. It's okay. You wait a little while, and somebody might email them with a breach of some kind. or it comes through from our end managed detection and response product, comes through, the AI looks at that and goes, that's a massive issue. That's priority one, goes through all our senior security engineers to work on immediately. It encompasses our billing, it encompasses our CRMs. We're all looking at the same information, and obviously gives us remote access to our clients' devices so that we can fix anything on the fly. That's kind of what ties everything together in our back end for FTG. So we are offering, of course, a little sales pitch at the end here. Fiona's already jumped on it. A Microsoft-backed cybersecurity assessment. It's free of charge, run by us, backed by Microsoft. So if anyone's interested in that, please feel free to fill out the form on the QR code that's going to be sent out. How's it? Good marketing. Hello.
Yep. Send a QR code on Mondays. Please take a few minutes to fill that in. It'd be much appreciated. And Shane will be in touch. Your complimentary security assessment.
So any questions?
So what's the outcome of that assessment? Is it a report, a document? That's
Correct. Yeah. So there's a couple of points of it. There's the accurate, well, the more regimented Microsoft-based assessment. There's also a general chat about your general overall IT security with a series of questions that we can see whether you've got some gaps or not. There's a very high chance that you're all really well set up and configured. There's also quite a high chance that there's a few gaps there because there's an ever-changing world of security. And it may be that we recommend a full penetration test. We don't do them. We're not a managed security solutions company, but we have a couple of companies that we can recommend, or you can go and find it yourself, but to actually do a proper penetration test to see how they can get in, and once they're in, how far they can go. It's a very smart tool. So we don't do the pen testing. We put everything in place based on their recommendations to keep you as safe as possible.
And the other thing we work with FTG on is if you are tendering maybe to the government or, responding to a large tender, or your board or, compliance requires you to have a really formal assessment, because these assessments are more day-to-day operational. But if you needed a formal assessment to actually issue, we actually provide that service through FTG as well. There is a charge to that, but it's incredibly comprehensive. It's done via our global team, because Crayon as a business have all the infrastructure globally. We're a Norwegian company, so we have a security department that can offer that to you, if that helps.
so this report is specific for the insurance companies.
Yes. So if if depending how you want to go with that, the insurance companies, if they just said, listen, I need a proper security, authorized security report, we can help you with that. Through FTG, obviously.
Obviously.
And from a technical point of view, what's required from the customer to run the assessment?
Well, there's the more formal assessment. We probably obviously just need access to probably quite a lot.
Yeah, the formal one would.
Yes.
But the one that we're just suggesting now, it takes approximately 2 hours. There's some questions that we being FTG, if we don't know the answer to, we just have to go through some formalities. We'd run a scan. It's actually quite a streamlined process because Microsoft have made sure of that. Quite easy.
As long as you've got admin rights in your Microsoft tenancy, which of course you do, you should, or have the ability to have access to that. We can run part of the assessment is looking at your Microsoft settings and making sure they are as good as they could be.
Yep.
And other parts are a general questionnaire about what you've got in place at the moment for target keeping yourself secure.
There was a question. One of the guys online had said, what were the data sources for the numbers total cyber crime market size? I think it was part of your presentation, Fiona.
Yeah.
What were the market data sources for that? And
ACSE was that?
Yes. Do you mind if we go back to
one of the earlier
I
slides?
think it was slide 3 or 4 or something, was it? That early one? Is that what he or she's referring to?
It is, yep.
Oh,
Yes.
So the data source, they want to understand the source of the data? Yes, so please, it's the ACSC. Oh, no, you can't see me on camera. The ACSC bottom right-hand corner of the slide. Cyber Threat Report 2023. If they Googled that, PDF would come up. It's quite comprehensive. So that's why that's a summary of that report.
And is that crypto total transaction values or the value of cybercrime transactions in crypto?
Oh,
Good question. Let's back another couple of slides.
I can't comment on that. I would have to
It would
look
have
at the
to be
report.
the effects of crypto is worth hundreds of billions.
I would say that based on the data sources this has come from, this is cybercrime.
Yes, I would think so, but the report will probably define that in,
Be cyber.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of billions of.
That was the only question we had.
okay.
Okay. Any other questions from the room?
Great presentation.
Well, everyone, well, thank you for joining. Those that are here in person get the advantage of having a liquid refreshment and something to eat. So apologies for everyone that's joining us online, but I appreciate your time. We will be in touch, and if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us.